So, this is me on Klonopin. As you might be able to tell, the experiment did not go well. I took it for 2 or 3 days. I don't really remember because I don't really remember a lot of things from the past 3 days, 2 days. So the bottle said 1 milligram tablet 3 times a day to get this anxiety and irritability and just general sense of unease under control. I think the first day I took it 3 times a day and realized that was going too far. What was happening was it was not clearing my system in time for the next tablet. And so there was still some in my system by the time I took the next tablet, only compounding on the problem. So by the time the third tablet of the day came along, I had even more. That's what I am that's what it felt like. So the next day, rather than taking it like around the clock routinely, I went with the first dose later in the afternoon because it was very sedating. And when I took it in the morning, my day was over. And I don't know if you might notice my teeth look different. I have a temporary crown on. The real one will not have a space in it. I'm very self-conscious about my teeth. That's why I mention it. So, and then take one later, like one in the, like one when I take my afternoon lithium, and then one at bedtime. And that wasn't any better. And I think I did that for 2 days, thinking, maybe the sedation would subside, but I wasn't completely aware of the amnesia and confusion until today. I had noticed yesterday that I was starting to just fall asleep randomly, anywhere, doing anything. And hours would be gone, and I would wake up and I already have a hard enough time with time. And so for 2 days or 3 days, I have been in a complete confusion about because my day is very scheduled and it was messing with that, and I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing next. Yeah, and I was getting flustered and irritated because at this time, like at 6 p.m., I meditate and I would sleep through 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. would come up, and that's dinner time. And I would be all freaked out because it was out of order. And it's like falling asleep all the time. So I don't think it was clearing my system. I was just, and um, I can say that it did relieve the general ill ease, that untethered underlying fear, the existential kind of fear. We're all gonna die. You never know when you're gonna die. It did relieve that, but I mean, come on, I was asleep. So, um, um, and it was so funny today and not funny. I had a lot of errands to run today. I should not have been driving, but I didn't know I should not have been driving. And I was taking my dog to the groomer, and I feel like I'm still talking. I'm still under the influence, even though I haven't taken it all day. It's still in there. Um, I I took my dog to the groomer, and I was gonna run these errands, and in between, and pick him up. Um, I was driving around town. I thought he was in the back seat the whole time, and I was like talking to him. He wasn't even there. He was at the groomer. I dropped him off at the groomer. I interacted with the groomer. I told her what I wanted done. And I couldn't remember which errands I'd already run or what I was supposed to be running. Um, I had a list, but I kept losing it. I was through this whole period. I lost every list I made. Um, I was just completely lost. Um, and the weird thing is, it didn't help with the anxiety. Um, so I was like super sedated, laying there, somewhere between conscious and unconscious, anxious, but not having the wherewithal to do what I usually do to help with the anxiety, even though what I was doing wasn't helping completely and wasn't helping enough. What I normally would have been doing with the anxiety is finding a project to immerse myself in, go for a walk, meditate, um, try to lose my. Usually, I'm too anxious to read or watch something and pay attention to it. But I mean, I have things in my arsenal, but I was too sedated to do any of them. And so I just laid there anxious. So that was actually really unpleasant and worse than being anxious and doing something about it, even if it fails. Does that make sense to anybody but me? Um, I have to pause for my water. Yeah, and that was another thing is this. I'm used to having a dry mouth for my medication, but this made it unbearably dry, and I was asleep. So I'd wake up and my mouth would be just completely glued shut. It was awful. And anyway, I considered trying half the dose. Oh, and here's the kicker. Here's the weird thing. It would make me sleep all freaking day. And then when I went to bed, nothing. I was wide a freaking awake. I was not drowsy in the least. What is that? You know? And so, anyway, um, I considered taking, she said I could take half, excuse me. Um, the first time I took it, the very first dose, it was so funny. It felt like my head was a balloon, in like a hot air balloon, and it was bobbing around, or like a buoy on the waves. I didn't feel high or anything. I just felt like my head was bobbing around. I never ever felt any sort of um, rush, tingly, nothing like that. Um, with Xanax, every once in a blue moon, I might get a little spacey for a very brief amount of time, but um, at, at least it would partially relieve the anxiety, and I was awake enough to do other things to counteract it. The thing is that the Xanax only does so much for the mixed features with the irritability. I mean, if I don't catch it and take something for it, as soon as I feel that like my clothes start to feel uncomfortable and I get restless and my body feels uncomfortable, those are the first signs. And this was if I don't take Xanax, then we're all in big trouble, because then I'm throwing things, I'm yelling things, horrible, mean, awful things, breaking stuff that I paid good money for, um, stomping around, slamming. So I have to say that the Klonopin did help with that. But I think I didn't like the sedation and it made me feel like a psychiatric patient. It made me feel like the times I'd been in the hospital and I'd been given Risperdal or um, or some other ones, Iprexa. That's on the never take to list. I don't care how bad I am. Or Remeron. Well, some of those drugs, that's what it felt like. And I will never, ever, under any circumstances, I don't care how bad I am, and my mom is aware of that, I will not take those. Um, that's what it felt like, and I didn't like it. Um, so I thought about trying giving half a tablet a go, um, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just gonna go back to the Xanax that I was taking. And In about a week and a half, I have another appointment. And I'm going to ask about, I don't know, I haven't heard a whole lot about it from people, but extended release Xanax. I'm going to ask her about that. I've never had a problem with dependence or anything on any of these drugs. Fortunately, I missed that gene. Two of my brothers didn't. Um, but yeah, I didn't like it at all. It did not suit my chemistry um, at all. The bummer is that I am told, and I don't know the name of it. I'm gonna ask when I call, or when they call me on the phone visit because of COVID. Um, I forgot what I was talking about. Let's see, I went from Xanax not liking, Klonopin, Xanax, extended release. Oh, yeah. She told me, you really need to be on this one medication. It's new. Um, it's it's specifically for people with mixed features. Um, it would probably be really good for you, but because you're on Medicare, they don't cover it. Medicare does not cover it, and it is very expensive. And if they gave me samples and then I needed samples and they didn't have any, I'd be in a really bad position. And so I have to find out what it is because I'm pretty sure you can appeal or something. Beg them, call them up. But I think it needs to come from the doctor's end that this patient needs to be on this drug. And but I've been there before. I was there when Seroquel came out before generic especially the XR. Um, so yeah, it was my Klonopin trip, and I missed a whole 3 days of proper training with my dog, my service dog, psychiatric service dog, which I think will be my next video. I'll probably have to bring it up into separate, a few separate ones, because it's kind of involved. And how it started was actually completely by accident, and then it became apparent that he had the skills necessary to do it. So, um, right now um, he picks things up really fast. And right now he is learning. I'm teaching him to recognize my early symptoms of early behaviors of irritable mood, so he can alert to me that they're happening and I can go take medication before it gets to where I'm throwing stuff around the room. But that's a whole different video, and I just wanted to let you all know about my Klonopin trip, and also the fact that I do realize that I'm only talking to a handful of people. That's how in the beginning, that's how things started out. And I don't really care if only a few people are listening. If I can help one person, then it'd be all worth it. Anyway, I'm going to say goodnight now. Because now I'm starting to wake up from my day of sleeping. All right, bye. Okay, so this is an addendum to the video I'm just working on now. I did go ahead and try um, the half tablet of Klonopin, uh, and this is funny. I was working on editing the original about Klonopin, and I literally fell asleep in this chair for an hour while I was working on my laptop. Woke up, didn't know what the heck was going on, why I was sitting in my chair, how much time had gone by. Um, yeah, so I think we're gonna say that definitely Klonopin is not gonna be on my list of meds again. So, I don't know if I said this before, but if you've had experience with Klonopin, let me know how it went. Because I want to know if this level of sedation is normal. I can have weird responses to certain doses of meds. Sometimes I need like just a tiny baby dose of a medication, whereas some people need what is actually recommended. And I've run into problems with that because there are some psychiatrists who insist on you must, like, according to the DSM, you must take this much, you know, dosage. Or I don't even know if the DSM is talking about dosage, I'm sorry. But anyway, it's like they're really rigid. And that is one thing that will kick a doctor off of my team. Um, I need someone that can work with me. Like, I had a doctor who, when I first started having irritable outbursts and stuff, she added this baby tiny dose of Zoloft, and it completely went away. It's no longer working, but at the time, it was years ago, it worked for years. This pediatric dose, like 25 milligrams. So, um, I don't like Klonopin. I'm gonna see about the Xanax extended release, see what they say about that. But From now on, I'm going back to what I was doing with the Xanax, even though it wasn't ideal.